time ago, just after World War II. There were more planes named after animals. This coast was a zoo. They were made by DeHavilland, that motley crew. But the loveliest was the Beaver, the DHC-2. There were Chipmunks and Foxmoths and Tigermoths too. Mosquitos, flamingos, and dragons that flew. From otters and buffaloes and caribou. But the best one was the Beaver, the DHC-2. Now bush pilots wanted big loads and don't waste time. We want to get up and down quick. We want a STOL design. So some Canucks and an Englishman, with help from a Pole, created FHBX, a flying truck on floats. It had high wings, a big tail, and a metal skin, droopy ailerons, and a little wasp engine. And right next to the cockpit, that engine could be found, 'cause the pilots loved to hear that soothing, sweet sound. They flew for BC and QC Airlines and PWA, for Baker, Spilsbury, and DeGoudier. They were the general's jeep throughout the war, and in Australia they threw fertilizer out the back door, that removable back door. You know, there's all kinds of things you could throw out the back door of a beaver, but you don't want to get Norm Gold started on that. Why, he hired and fired Blackie Absurus at least a dozen times at Air West, but you know, Norm, somebody's gotta fly the thing. Maury Mercer would tell you she's a marvelous plane. You can fly her upside down when your passengers are a pain. And Mike McCluskey will tell you can land her at low tide. You just can't take off again. He knows, 'cause he's tried. Tried and tried. Imagine calling your boss at 3 a.m. in the morning because you were too embarrassed to call him earlier when that little coaster wheel got caught in the soft sand above the high tide mark, and you thought that second tide would roll right up and let you off again. Not a chance. Now, bush pilots have a thing about dock pilings. Those suckers are hell on wings. And they'd rather slip on a wet float and lose the crown jewels against the spreader bars than to let that big high wing swing around and bend the airplane.
She was a grand plane, but all good things come to an end. Hawker Sidley shut her down in '67. But they're still converting turbos of Viking Air, and now Bolio brings them back 'cause they still work and he still cares.
Now there's Kenmore and Baxter and Pacific Coastal. They're all still flying Beavers 30, 40, 50 years old. And you know they'll be flying 50 years from now. You folks who built the Beaver ought to stand up and take a bow. 'Cause there were Chipmunks and Foxmoths and Tigermoths too. Mosquitos, flamingos, and dragons that flew. Otters and buffaloes and caribou. But the best one was the Beaver, the DHC-2. Yes, the best one was the Beaver, the DHC-2.